Hi folks, this is part 2 of a two-part series on how to build hardwood stair treads from scratch from rough lumber. Part 1 shows how to take the rough boards, plane them, rip them in strips, align their grains so that they don't warp, and glue them up into treads, put a stair nosing on them, and then cut them to fit. And then this video I'm going to talk about the finish and the installation and any lessons learned. So this job took me about a month of weekends, and it cost me probably $350 to $400 in materials, mainly for lumber, but there was some adhesive as well required. And I'm very happy with the job. There are 3 sets of stairs, and I'm just showing you one of them now, but overall this job would have cost probably $300 to $3,500 if I had a professional manufacture the treads and install them, maybe even more. And it's been a year since I've put them down, so this video is made a year later than the first video, and there hasn't been an ounce of movement or cupping or warping at all. No squeaks. They're very stable and extremely solid, so I'm really pleased. So after the treads were made, I had them all dry fit, of course, and cut the fit, and everything was pre-assembled, just resting in place to make sure everything would fit. And these risers actually are just 3/4 inch oak plywood cut, and of course where it's plywood and you don't see the ends, you can't tell that it's not a board. Obviously oak boards for the risers would be very expensive and very laborious, so I used oak plywood. And so before I installed them, I actually stained them all and varithaned them all, and it was just easier to do it out in my garage, lying them all out on a workbench and then going through the staining and varithane process. And you have to varithane both sides of the tread, even the sides that you don't see, and that keeps the moisture out of them. Actually, I'm not necessarily convinced it keeps it out, but it keeps the change in moisture content very, very slow, and that is important to prevent warping. So remember you only need to stain on one side, but varnish on both sides. So putting a construction adhesive on a riser and then holding it in place, and then I used finishing nails on the very top of the riser that you can't really see, because after I installed the riser, then I sat the tread on top of it, and the stair nosing on the tread covered over where I put the finishing nails in the top of the riser to hold it in place. The construction adhesive was applied to the bottom of the tread, and once the tread was set in place, I used finishing nails at the very back of the tread, just 3 or 4 of them to hold it in place. I just had an air nailer and drove in some finishing nails, and then I went to the next riser and the next tread, and so on all the way to the top. Now, to hold the treads in place, I had a bunch of weights from my home gym, and I set probably about 30 pounds of weight on each tread, and it just held them in place. I left them there I probably left them there overnight, and in the morning they were solid and never going to move again. Now, one of the challenges I had with this project was coming up with custom stuff, custom sized treads. I mean, there's an angle right there. You can see that is nowhere near 90 degrees. Here I am looking down at it. There you go. That's a better angle. So certainly not a 90-degree angle there. And every angle on these stairs was not 90 degrees. So that was a real pain. And in addition to that, transition strip or stair nosing, I made all of these stair nosings from my flooring to the first riser. I made those, and that was quite a task. And you can see my craftsmanship was not perfect. I had some gaps there. Actually, there you go. That highlights the gaps. And on this side, better on that side, but that, I guess, would be my least proud part of this job. But the rest of it was all like really, I'm very happy with it. Look at the very, very small gap. I mean, you'd have trouble fitting a piece of paper between the stair tread and the gap, and I had to cut that
just to fit. It was very, very difficult. Well, no, I measured it 10 times and cut it once and got it, you know, got it right.
What was important is at the end of the job, I realized you should install your widest treads first. So the width was this way, install them first. And if you make a mistake and cut the angle wrong, you can always put that tread that you cut too short on your shortest stair tread. So I guess that's just general good general construction guidance, and so that's what I would recommend. If we also look at some of the other complexities around the job, I did have a railing here, and to do the tread installation I removed the spindles. I left this guy right in place, this main one, and cut around it, and so it turned out pretty well. And then of course where the spindles were removed, I could just put them back in place. I did not want to get into mortising a square hole and setting these in place. I know probably that's what a professional would do, I guess, and it probably would be stronger. This is a very short railing, and it's but the two end pieces, it's extremely strong as is, so I didn't bother. And then there was another spot that I had to cut around here to get around a wall. So that's that job, and I'll quickly show you the stairs to the upstairs level. Sun's not out real bright yet, so they look like they're a different color, but in fact they're all the same blonde oak color. My camera's not so good. And then the third set of stairs, here's from the top, and this one was easy. They were all the same width. This set of stairs right here took me 10% of the time it took to do that first set of stairs. And so that's the project. I'm overall extremely happy, and I don't know how many hours it took, that many, 100 hours probably, over a month of weekends, and I'm very pleased. And so it's a job that anybody with the right tools and some patience can do. So good luck with your project. And maybe if you do a project after learning a tip from this one, perhaps post a comment, and that'll let me know if this kind of video helps you out. Bye bye.